Welcome to Building Great Sales Teams, a show dedicated to making sales teams tick, tick, boom. Great sales teams are not recruited, they are built, block by block. Let's get to work.
Test 1 2. Test.
Can you hear me?
Test 1 2.
Can you hear you? I can hear me. I don't need to hear me. I need you to hear me.
I got you.
I need your box to hear me.
Your little box.
Yeah, that's what I tell my wife. I just need the box. We're not recording, right? We're not like...
Always, brother. We're starting the episode out that way.
No, you're not. You can't prove this was me.
Dude, you walked into this trailer and an NDA scanned your eye retina on the way in.
It's like the airport.
All right, guys, we got Sam Kaufman here with On the Level Construction, or is it On the Level Home Remodeling? What's the tagline there?
It really depends on what we sell that day.
Okay. Yeah, Sounds good.
It's On the Level Construction, sometimes kitchen and bath. We have a flooring store.
Nice.
So it filters, yeah.
So Sam and I met through Apex Executives about 6 months ago, and we were just having a conversation before we got rolling here about how far you've come. You know what I mean? I didn't realize like the badass that you were when I met you, you know, and we're having this conversation and you and Brian.
Yep.
We went to Velvet Taco in Addison, Texas, and had a conversation about building sales teams, you know? And this was before Building Great Sales Teams podcast, consulting, all that good stuff, you know? And I remember that night very vividly. I was just like on fire talking to you guys about this, you know?
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, you're now a coach for Win Rate Consulting. You've already been on stage at a Fly-In Friday. I mean, you're just murdering it, dude. I'm watching you. You're killing it. And you have like gone all in too. That's the difference. We were just talking about it. Over 6 months, you've gone all in and you've executed on everything that Apex has given us. And it's doing amazing things for your company. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember that conversation. I was so confused as to what I actually needed at that time. I remember we were talking about outbound sales and I had 80 different things, and you were on fire, but you lit, that conversation made a big impact, because what I walked into with, I don't know what to do or how to grow, or if growing a sales team is even like a thing for my industry.
Right.
That 2-hour experience built a lot of confidence that you might not be aware of.
Oh no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That means a lot. And one of the things I remember about you is you were like, and this was the best part that I loved. You were just like, well, I'm a great salesman. You know what I mean? Why can't they be too?
Dude, and I still, you know, it's hilarious. I just spoke over breakfast this morning at the hotel. I was talking to 2 entrepreneurs, Apex entrepreneurs, both looking to hire their first sales rep. And the one to my left goes, what I don't understand is I am the best salesperson I know. Why can't they just live up to what I need them to do?
Yeah.
And a huge grin on my face, and I said, well, let me explain. And now,
Exactly.
but that's how this whole thing works, right? We have a conversation at Velvet Taco 6 months ago, and then 6 months later I have a conversation. That's how we continue to give that back.
Pass the value, the value for sure. And that is the biggest thing that I get from my clients, and then people that reach out. It's like transferring what's in your head and the talent and abilities and skills that you have into people that have never done sales before, maybe, or that have done sales but they've never been really taught the structure of it, right? The training behind it, like the things that we do intentionally that we don't realize we're doing because we're just flying by the seat of our pants, right? And then we start creating training, we start creating systems, and then all of a sudden our teams get on fire after that. So let's talk about that. We'll get into the sales team stuff first. I guess what's been going on with you guys since that conversation?
Sure. So I, after our conversation and going back, what I did was, instead of combating Instead of spending 12 to 18 months fighting my own strengths and weaknesses, I brought in a sales VP.
Nice.
So I got a close friend of mine. He's actually in execs now, still running that role for us.
I haven't met him yet. I need to meet him.
Yeah, you will if we have time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a busy couple days. Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I've heard, noticed, witnessed in this community is don't waste time. Right, hire for where you want to be, not for where you're at. And where I needed to be was I needed a sales leadership. So I could spend a year teaching myself how to teach other people to sell, or I could bring in somebody smarter, better, and faster than me.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I brought in somebody who they came in and within 5 weeks created what we now call the Sales Bible. So we've got this 40-page document. It's an SOP for sales, how we handle inbound leads, how it goes through the system, how it gets measured, assessed, estimated, and closed. There's all these fundamentals, and like if you had asked me, I would have known none of that. I do all of it. I had no idea I was doing it. That's what we're talking about, right? Where we're like, we don't even know. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Exactly.
I would never have known that that's what I was trying to teach somebody. I never would have known that that's what they were failing at, that they needed to be lifted up in. I would just, close it. I don't know. Like
we just expect them to watch us and then no.
Yeah, close the deal.
Yeah.
I also didn't know that there were really different, such wildly different sales styles. I have a very different sales. My best sales rep and I sell polar opposite. I'm very not like apathetic. What is it?
Empathetic?
No, like almost indifferent about whether or not
indifference,
close.
yeah.
Indifference, right?
Yeah.
So when I sell, I usually attempt to talk the customer out of buying the product. I give them all of the reasons why it really isn't maybe the best timing or the best, and I have a very, very high conversion rate.
Well, and then I would imagine you have the highest quality rate after the sale.
Well, yes, obviously.
Well, but what I'm saying is like indifference, what it creates is, and what you're doing is you're taking that customer through basically a super qualification process. So when they do sign, you've basically eliminated all the objections because you addressed them early on when they were still motivated. You know what I mean? In the beginning of the conversation is typically the most motivation for the customer.
Right.
By the end of the conversation, they're going through all the reasons why not in their head to be able to say no, because it's our instinct to say no first, right?
Well, and I also think, so two things on that too. One, I set extraordinarily clear expectations. There's no surprises when a deal closes because I closed it. There's never that moment of, but you didn't and I didn't. I'll even tell, so when we do like kitchen remodel, I got a customer recently who having a hard time deciding if they wanted to do their bathroom first or their kitchen first. And I came in to help close this, and I sat down at their kitchen table, and they were like, what do you think? And I was like, here's the reality of the situation. Bathroom is going to be way less invasive in your home and way less rewarding. You let us do the kitchen first, you're going to hate us for 3 straight weeks. I am telling you right now, from the second day we're in your home, you are going to say to yourself, why did I do this? 3 weeks later, you're going to be like, oh shit, this is really cool. 2 weeks after that, you're going to be like, holy, I can't believe this is the coolest thing. I'm so glad. I said, now, if you can put up with 3 weeks of hating me, I think you should do the kitchen first. If you can't, let's knock the bathroom out. And I laid it out, like, real clear. I tell everybody, you're not going to like this. Redoing your kitchen is not a pleasant experience during the experience. Now, we have this, and this solution in place to help you, but you're not going to have a good time. You got kids in the house, you got animals. Like, I just go full in. 5 days later, I get a text message, hey, we decided to go with the kitchen first. We want to get the kitchen done first. But I set expectations clearly so there's no surprises, and I also build a tremendous amount of trust. There's nothing speaks to your credibility and your trustworthiness more than saying, here's where I'm the bad guy. This is where it's going to be tough. This is where it's going to be hard. This is where you're not going to enjoy this. This is where you're going to spend more money than you'd like, but you have to. Yeah. I build a lot of trust.
Yeah, there's a quote, or not a quote, but a saying that I got from, I'm going to give him credit here, Ralph Ramon, 10 years ago. And he was one of my first managers, ended up starting his own company and then being an operational partner. So we've worked together on and off for 10 years now. And one of the things he used to always say was, customers don't mind negatives. What they hate is negative surprises.
Exactly.
So that's exactly what you're explaining right there. So many salespeople want to act like their product is the greatest thing ever and not prepare the customer for the negative experiences within the product. Now, that's universal. you remodel a kitchen, it's going to be a negative experience when the remodel is happening. I mean, I had someone finishing out our home. The 1-year warranty was up, so they came in and did the warranty work, right? And I don't want somebody in my home. That's my home. Yep. I don't want somebody there when my wife and kids are there, right? And so that is not a great experience. And so preparing them for that, setting the expectation is huge, and it makes your job so much easier after the sale. Yeah,
it does. And there's no, and the other, in my opinion, and this is where I will, so like my best rep is just closing. Back in January, when I joined Win Rate Consulting as a client, they do personality tests for you and some of your staff. And I had them do the personality test, and I said, hey, by the way, I don't think this guy is necessarily cut out for sales. Mike gets back to me 3 days later. He said, this guy is the only one on your team cut out for sales.
Wow.
Something's wrong.
What was that personality test?
That was a disc assessment.
Oh, disc assessment.
Yeah, it was a disc assessment. So it wasn't anything like massive. But that was an eye-opening. That was my first eye-opening. Like, okay, I love team leadership and core value. I mean, I talk about it constantly. I knew in that moment I was failing that team member somewhere. So that's when we brought on. Now, he sells so differently, but one of the things that helps tremendously, regardless of the sales practice, is seeing past the close. And that's where that being okay with telling them it's not, for me, the closing, the contract signing, the down payment is just the beginning. I need the experience to be positive.
Right.
I need it to be a 5-star experience all the way through. Through the project, through the completion, through the warranty, getting the review, getting a referral, getting it. You got... in my experience, the sales team members who can see past the closing are the most successful, because they understand those successful job when the production team fulfills the job accurately because you sold the job accurately.
Exactly.
You've got 3 or 4 referrals. You got 6 figures in business coming to you 9 months from now because of that job you closed. If you close it fast and incorrectly and it goes bad and you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And people remember the sales rep.
Absolutely.
Not a lot. And I think newer people in sales don't always kind of like catch on to that, but they remember you're the one they're mad at when it goes bad.
And then they think they can just like pass this product off or pass the buck basically, and I'm done. I did my job. Let me walk away.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. I remember when we went from selling AT&T Uverse to DirecTV. We started installing dishes on people's roofs. And so, it's a very small form of construction, right? But at the same time, you're still putting something on someone's house.
Yep.
So where it goes, how it goes on there, ground mount, roof mount, is it an eyesore on the roof? Whatever the case is, like so many of our sales rep, because they were impulse sellers, and once AT&T got the deal, or got the package, they got to walk away because AT&T handled the customer service from there. But that was the first time we had to handle the installation process. So now we're doing fulfillment. So we had to retrain our guys basically to do what you're saying, to think about, okay, what about after the sale? The customer experience after the sale. Did I give them the right product and package? Did I set the expectation with where the dish was going to go and that type of stuff? So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. That's why we have a help first mentality as one of our core values.
Absolutely, brother. What are some of the things you've done in your business that you feel like have, because I feel like before it was all you, right? It was very much like it had to all be in here and it had to all work in here to work in your business. So you've delegated, you've hired.
Yeah. So we, it's funny. I actually haven't really talked about, I was thinking about this flying yesterday, and it's interesting, pertains to your question. I haven't talked about this a bunch, but I have already, this is not the first time in this business's lifespan that it has been successfully growing with me out of the way. And so what's interesting is I've done this before. It was just on a smaller scale, one service offering,
right,
labor only. We weren't doing product, like it wasn't growing, but it was healthy in a sense.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting is, when we decided to transform the business into this retail space, product offering, I mean, the ticket sizes, what we're selling now is literally 100x what we were selling 18 months ago for the average ticket size. It's pretty incredible.
That's beautiful.
And what's funny is, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago, you would think that you'd already know what to do. You would think that because you had done it before on a smaller scale, or because maybe you made this mistake before, you wouldn't make it again. You'd think that it would just start going fast and perfect.
Yeah,
and
you would only need to learn once.
Yeah, you think you'd only need to learn once. And I guess I'm stubborn and I need to learn more than once. And what's funny is I didn't know what was really stopping me was I was in the business's way. That's really been the biggest hurdle removal that I have done, is by connecting with people like you here in places like this and in Apex and Win Rate, is feeling confident to get out of the way and staff the business for where we're going. So what really happened was I decided, all right, we're going to grow. We're going to do this. I'm tired of fighting this labor only. I'm tired of fighting this low net profit. Like, we've hit a glass ceiling, and this isn't going to get me to my dreams. This is not going to build the business that I envision. This is not going to build the family that I want to build. This isn't going to do it. Yeah. And then I went, all right, well, what do I do now? And so it was all in my head again, just like in the beginning. All the processes and procedures were in my head. All of what needed to happen was in my head. And I had a team that was very successful in one product service offering that was now being told to go and offer another product and service. But they needed my support. Yeah. And coming here, I realized that they needed leadership. They didn't need somebody to do everything and sell everything and deal with every customer. And because those were the same mistakes that I made in the beginning of 6, 7 years ago when we started. I had to do everything and touch everything. Right. And what's so cool about Apex and what we do here is that this happened so quickly. It's like what took me 4 years to get out of my own way before took me 3 or 4 months to do this time.
All the resources are here. You know what I mean? And then so many people within Apex and in their zone of genius put so much value out because they know, hey, if I put the value out, then, some people are going to take advantage of it and use it and do well with it. And then some people are going to hire me to just do it for them, right? And but that also means if you can execute on the value they're putting out, you don't necessarily have to pay this big ticket price for it. And then other ones you can't execute on, you are going to pay the big ticket price for it. Yeah. One of the things I want to double down on that you said earlier is you were talking about selling higher margin products. Right. And so I think this needs to be fluid throughout your business, because when I first started, it was all about scaling numbers. Bank account or body count equals bank account, right? So we had 110 sales reps at one point. You know what I mean? And it was very much like you were saying in the early parts of your business where you kept getting in your own way. So I was all about the metrics, the numbers and everything. And so as we evolved, we became a higher product in terms of what we sold, that our ticket price increased, right? And we reduced the amount of salespeople we have, and we kept reducing our sales force, but increasing the income for each one of them, and now our average income is around $65,000 for a salesperson with us. That's great. And we're trying to get to 100 six-figure earners. And so we're not only doing it with our products, right? Because we only sell premium solar products with our solar division. We only sell the highest packages with the AT&T Internet with our MDU division, right? We're doing the same thing within our company, where we're not going to hire you if you don't align with the core values, and we could have a whole nother podcast on that. Yeah, we could. But that's the deal. Like, you don't have to be the 14-hour-a-day business owner. And you don't have to fall on the sword every time, and you don't have to sacrifice your personal life and your family life in order to keep the business rolling. But you do if you're selling low margin products. You do if you're not hiring quality people. You know what I'm saying? And then you're the one running around like crazy. So
right. And so we grew. In the beginning, I was obsessed with top line revenue. Top line is all I cared about. I wanted to hit 7 figures. And I had no profit goal. I just wanted to see 7 figures on the income statement at the end of the year for the business.
Give me all the business.
All the business. We had 2 cities. We had dozens of employees. We had the cost of doing business continued to increase when the profit of doing the same business did not. And what you end up doing, or what we almost ended up doing, was growing ourselves out of business, which people talk about often, but you don't really understand it till you do it. And I'm sorry, you can warn somebody all day long that they're going to do it.
That's not me.
Try to warn a new entrepreneur that they're going to grow themselves out of business. Just tell me how they're going to think you're full of shit. And that's fine. Learn it the hard way. I think it develops a lot of grit. But you're right. And leading from the front today with my sales team, like, I'm in the office much less than I've ever been before. But here's what I'm doing now. So I have an operations manager. And he made a comment the other day. We were on the phone, and he was like, I noticed what you're doing. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you never talk to me about operations anymore. Every check-in is whether or not I'm exercising, if I'm reading, am I going on date nights? How is the team doing? Are you doing one-on-ones?
I fucking love that.
And I said, dude, that's because you're in a leadership position now. I put you there because you knew ops. Ops training isn't what we need to be doing, but if you're going to continue to lead the team, you need to outgrow them daily. Your job is to grow people underneath you. If you grow them to where you're at, what the fuck good are you here? You have to keep going. I'm like, why do you think I'm flying out of town every month? I'm staying ahead of you, dog. Like, I'm staying ahead of you so you can stay ahead of them so they can stay ahead of the new guy. And he was like, holy shit. I was like, do you see? So we're running my team doesn't even know this yet. My wife does because it was her idea, but we're running a giveaway. There's a big flooring retail conference. Go ahead.
First of all, if you're listening to this podcast and you have that little thing that goes back 15 seconds, hit it twice and listen to what Sam just said again. Holy shit. We're going to put that all over reels and everything. That was fucking beautiful what you just said.
If your management and leadership team needs management and tactical operational training, you have the wrong people in management and leadership. They need personal development training. That's it. That should be 90% of the conversation. Just come to you for help. That's all great. But that should be 90% of your relationship with those people should be personal. You should be coaching them like how we pay for coaching. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do to them. Yeah. I learn it here, apply it, figure it out, and immediately goes back to them. But yeah, so we're running a giveaway. There's a big flooring retail event in November in Arizona, and I know flooring retail sounds boring. These guys do it really well. It's fun. They got great speakers, breakout. They run it like a fly-in.
Nice.
Cool. So I couldn't decide who to bring. I wanted to bring everybody. Like, we're doing well this year, and everybody's contributing. And I'm like,
I'll come with you, Sam.
I'm like, well, thank you. Yeah. I'm like, shit. I just want to bring everybody. But I can't. That's not feasible.
That's what happened with this. I ended up with 18, and I think we could have brought 25. And I feel like an asshole for the 8 that had to stay back. But I mean,
so check this out. So this is what we're doing. So when we get back, we're doing a 75-day. It's not 75 hard, but we're doing a 75-day challenge on the G code. Whoever comes to me with the highest score on the G code after 75 days, the top 2 are getting plane ticket hotel to the event, flooring retail event.
And the old me would have said, oh, they're just going to lie.
You know what? That's not my fucking problem.
Exactly.
My job is to present the opportunity, and it's up to them and God to figure out the rest. Right. That's not on me. Yeah. Right? I can't control the results. I'm just putting it. I mean, it's no different. You and I are doing it on a smaller scale, but it's no different than when Stuman does. He puts out the opportunity. How many people? Well, let me not even go down that. I'm just saying, people do lie, but let me tell you this: it's harder for me to remember to fill out the G Code app every day than it is to actually do the work inside of the G Code.
It's very true.
If they remember to fill that thing out dishonestly every day, they earn their ticket. I'll take them with me. But that's hard enough. That's hard enough. And so,
that's fair.
Because my wife said this, she's like, well, they're going to lie. I'm like, 75 days is a long time, even to be full of shit.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
That takes discipline to be full of shit for 75 days.
Like, you earned it. You earned it. You outpaced everybody else who's full of shit. You really, you're the hardest working full of shit person here. You're more than welcome to come. Look at the dude. He's cracking up.
Yeah, dude. Ryan's cracking up behind the camera right now. He's awesome. Loving this. It's very true, though. Like, some people work harder to bullshit than they would if they just did the work. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. But my point being, when we were talking about how do we pick, we discussed, all right, let's see who can get the most 5-star reviews. Let's see who can get the most this. And I said, I was like, you know what? Let's take this a step fully out, because what I want to do is coach them, but I can't coach every single team member one-on-one like that. The time is not, it's not going to happen.
But Stewman gives us tools.
I got tools, right? Nice. So I present the tool, facilitate the challenge, dude. If one person fills that thing out at 75% for 75 days, their lives will change. They don't even know it. So I get to help them. I get to present it and walk away and still help them. That's what they do for us.
Yeah.
Nobody's holding your hand or my hand. Nobody does that. When we leave Dallas, there's nobody fucking there. That's just you and me, alone, back at home with the wife and the kids and the team and the people who have no idea that you've changed in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
You have to show them.
And you have to show them with integrity, too.
Yeah, and you have 100%. To do it every single day. And that's why, like, I stopped coming back from... When I joined Execs and Chris Whitehead told me, I was like, man, like my wife, and she was supportive, but she was apprehensive. You know what I mean? It's expensive. It's time away from the family. This shit ain't cheap. And Chris said, well, why don't you try something different for once? And instead of talking about all the shit you're going to do, just shut the fuck up, do it, and watch what happens. And I texted him the other day. I texted him the other day. I got a text message from my wife about a week ago talking about how she wants to level our kids up and shoot all this stuff, and we're planning all this stuff like for our family. And I sent it to Chris, and I was like, thank you,
brother.
Thank you, because 8 or 9 months ago you said just stop talking and do the work, and the people that you lead will the ones who are meant to be there will come with you.
I can't remember how many times I've given my team this vision and this vision and this vision, you know what I mean, and then just the motivation leaves.
Yeah.
And then I'm not doing the work and they're not doing the work. You know what I'm saying? It happened so much early on in my career. And then I just rested all my talent, you know what I mean? And I was still able to be successful by average standards, right? But it took joining a group like this to actually go home and do the work every single freaking time. So let's talk about that a little bit, man. A few conversations that you and I had early on, and we talked about it a little bit on your podcast, On the Level. Check it out. Download it. 5-star review, automatic.
Never stopped building, but he was close.
Oh, so. Yeah, my bad. Never stopped building. I messed that up. Yeah. And it's funny because we both have building in our podcast.
We do. We both also have multiple businesses and consult and all this other confusing shit. It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about work-life balance.
Sure.
I'm sure you love that term.
This is the second time this week that somebody on a podcast asked me to talk about work-life balance. And I'm going to give, here's my philosophy on this whole thing. Balance is not real, but harmony is achievable. And so what that means to me, first of all, work and life are the same thing. And so I hate the fact that there's even people attempt to make a distinction, because that puts undue pressure and stress on picking one. Yeah. You have to pick your life or work. My life is work. And I remember like months and months and months ago, I heard a piece of content with Mike Claudio on it, and somebody asked him, how many hours a day do you work? And he said, I work 18 hours a day at life, and I sleep for the other 6. And I locked into that.
I fucking love that. I hadn't heard that yet.
Taking my son to MMA on a Tuesday night is work. Filming my podcast is work. Taking my wife out on a date is work. I love working. Working gives me purpose.
Right.
What is life? Like if I were to ask people, they never have. I'm not grilling you, but when people bring that up and they're like, "Talk to me about work-life balance," I'm like, "What is life and what's the difference?"
Well, I brought it up sarcastically.
I know, and that's why I'm not asking you the question. But people, and I think a lot of the times I don't look at my businesses as like a job per se, because when I do, I end up miserable. And it all facilitates the same purpose to me. And the only reason that we're able to do this attempt at harmony is because we have a mission and a purpose behind everything that we do. And I know when I talk about a lot recently about living with intention and showing up intentionally, and what that all means is that showing up to each event with the same mission and purpose in mind when I show up. And that's hard. That's hard. I don't believe in balance. I believe that we have pillars in our lives. We've got our family and our faith and our career and our friendships and self and fitness.
Yeah.
And I just believe when you build one pillar too high, all it does is it pulls from the other pillars' foundations to hold itself up. And so if I can build them all, I would rather build my business slower, but be in good shape, have a happy marriage, my kids be happy to see me at night for dinner, than build my business extravagantly fast and lose all those other things. That's
so freaking true, and it resonates so much with me because in my 20s I built it fast, and furious, and everything else fell to shit.
Yeah, I was 300 pounds 3 years into starting my business.
Same. Hey.
Yeah, hey, high five on being 300, and then not.
Yeah.
And then not. I was 300 pounds because I was eating myself. I was eating my emotions. My wins and losses were food related. My marriage was, we were engaged or dating. We were miserable. We joke now. We're happier now. Older, all the trials and tribulations later, we're happier now and busier than we've ever been than we were ever before because of the intention inside of the marriage. Not the time, not the fact that things have slowed down, because they haven't. The intention behind the marriage, the intention behind the business, the communication inside the relationships in my life. That's what makes all the change.
You work at it.
You work at it.
Just like you said earlier.
But you don't balance it.
Yeah.
I might not see my kids on a Monday. I might leave real early in the morning and not come back to the time that they're in bed, or I might be gone for 2 or 3 days in Dallas. Here's the thing though. So like we flew out for 4 days. So yesterday I didn't go into the office. We took the kids out to lunch. We had a fun day with them. Monday I'm going in for a staff meeting, leaving at 11 and taking them to the beach. I'm being intentional about each time. Now Tuesday through Thursday next week, guarantee you I'm going to work my ass off at the business. I'm going to have a lot to do, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell my wife, hey, Tuesday through Thursday, like, it's on you, and she's going to be cool. Because I earned it.
Yeah,
you earn it when you communicate and you show up.
Well, and that's the whole deal, is you have to communicate with them. And so what kind of opened my eyes to this, outside of Apex, is Burton Hughes' book, Align Your Empire. And so the same way you're saying harmony, he says alignment. And so align your empire, and you've got to and Ryan says this all the time too, you've got to let your family in on your target, your mission, and your purpose. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And you got to align your family's mission, purpose, core values, all that with your businesses. And so whenever I go on a trip like this one, and I let my kids know, hey, I'm going to be gone for 4 days, and this is why. And they're never too young to hear this. And the younger they hear it, the better. You know what I mean? This is why we're sponsoring MDM. We're paying a lot of money to set up a booth here, and we want more people to come into our company, And the reason we want more people to come into our company is because we've got a great fucking company. You know what I mean? We want to spread that mission, that purpose. We want more people to come in. You know what I mean? And then, we're talking about this over dinner, and then so they know why I'm gone. I'm not gone because Daddy loves work more than his kids. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very excited about them finishing school now, because we are going to be able to do that. I am going to be able to take a Monday off or a Tuesday off. I know, Drewby does that really well. He has a family day every Tuesday. He's got it scheduled on point. And just be able to spend the whole day with them. And we can do that because we built out our businesses in order to support that. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And we want that for everybody in our organizations as well. So one of the things we say at Argenta is, we help each other achieve freedom. It's the shirts we got on today, And I want that for my people too, But like you said, you got to be leveling up so they can level up with you. You know what I'm saying? You can't be promoted if you can't be replaced,
Yeah, and you have to achieve some freedom in order for people to buy into that. They
Absolutely.
Have to you have to have done it. Yeah.
And that's the whole deal. People think, oh, I've got to lead by example, and I've got to be the one out there in the field. You know what I'm saying? And yes, that's fun to do, to fire them up every now and then. But they need to see you achieve that financial, time, faith, control of your life type of freedom in order to want it too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just words. It's just words on a wall.
I used to be so afraid of being, looking, and sounding successful in front of my team.
Me too.
So scared. I used to think that if I thought I was successful, they'd leave. And what I learned is they want to be successful too. And if the guy in charge isn't successful and he's at the top, where the fuck am I supposed to go here? There's nowhere to go. And so the better I do, this is why it's funny, the whole build your machine and posting every day. That was my biggest hurdle to get over, was the insecurity of my team watching me post and live my life and be confident and happy and in Dallas or traveling. And all it's done has facilitated them to want to grow. Because here's the deal. You should be creating a gap between you and the people that you're in charge of, but you need to be throwing rope constantly.
Hell yeah.
Constantly. and pulling them up and being like, look, yeah, I'm ahead, but come on. Like,
and building an escalator on the way up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so I used to be so afraid and insecure about that. And now, like, you bring them into the fold, just like your wife, your kid. When I say team, and the reason I use the word team all the time is because that's just everybody.
Everybody in your sphere of influence.
In my sphere of influence, and some people in my direct charge, like that I lead directly. And I've started really like using that sentence out loud because it needs to be acknowledged by people who lead people that you are actually leading people. It's not like some fun, cool term. Like, it's actually your charge. That's what you've been tasked to do. I don't know who said it, and I don't know where. I think it was a fly-in, but somebody was like, even like, your kids aren't even your, like, those are God's kids. You've just been tasked with parenting them. And like, when I started really like thinking about like, I've been tasked with leading certain people, my willingness and my drive to step up for them really like skyrocketed. And so like, I gave a budgeting presentation instead of a staff meeting a few weeks ago to our team. We set goals every Monday in our staff meeting, and the common goal kept being financial literacy and budgeting and finances. And after a couple of weeks, my wife was like, I bring her up a lot because she's seriously my better half. Like, I have no shame in that. She, like, without her, I don't know who or where I would be. But she was like, this keeps coming up. Like, not to be a dick, but what are you gonna like? You're being asked to help, whether they're asking or not.
Is that a direct quote from your wife?
Oh, that's not even as bad as it probably was.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, my wife is the shit. So, she said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to help them? They're asking you for help. And I started looking at my calendar, and I was thinking like, oh, okay, I can get a one-on-one with this guy on this day. And I was like, well, what am I doing all these one-on-ones? Just give a presentation. So I did. We built a presentation. So now what we're doing is at the last Monday of every month, in place of the staff meeting, is now an optional presentation meeting. And what we'll do is we're getting a collective goal setting, and whatever the topic is for the month. Next month's going to be credit, how to build, maintain credit score, how to understanding what credit actually is. The month after that is going to be health and fitness, what that looks like in the construction industry, and how you can take care of your health and fitness while being on a job site 8 or 9 hours a day, et cetera, et cetera.
You don't have to get tacos every morning.
You don't have to get tacos. And in fact, I suggest you not get tacos every morning. And because the thing is, like, the more and more I spent so many years, like, personal development's always been important to me. But I would always, it was also the first thing to go when things got hard. So I would stop. I'd be like, reading's going. It's
a luxury.
It was when I have extra time, when I am successful enough, I will take better care of myself. And I think the biggest shift in my life has honestly been, I will never be successful to the point that I want to if I cannot, in a disciplined way, take care of myself every day.
Absolutely.
And so I'm trying to instill that in everybody around me as well. So
what's next for Sam Kaufman?
I made a post about that this morning. What's next for Sam Kaufman is patience and discipline. So we've got the renovation company is growing. We're going to have 100% year-over-year growth this year with the way the numbers are looking. The podcast is releasing weekly. And I just started doing coaching and consulting with the win rate team. And I'm, after MDM, that's probably going to pick up pretty heavy. So my honest intentions for 2022 as I continue is just to continue. The very things that got me here have to keep going to keep me on track. And I have a tendency, the old me,
get bored,
get squirrely, or start getting the stuff that I worked for and stop doing the work that got me the stuff.
That's fair. Yeah, it happens to all of us.
It does.
And people don't talk about that enough because they think it's like, insulting to themselves, you know what I mean? But it's a real thing. Like, you get comfortable.
Well, and we get busy doing the work that we earned, that we stop doing the work that got us the work that we earned. And so my serious goal for the rest of this year is, that's it. It's to be disciplined in all of the actions and behaviors that got me to where I'm at. I mean, you said really nice things about me in the beginning, and I appreciate that. If we had more time, I would and I'm sure they hear about you a lot, but you're no different in that scenario. But all those nice things that you said are the result of doing some very disciplined and mundane things every day.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to make sure that I keep those up.
So if the listeners want to do something disciplined and mundane, this is a great pitch for them, for Sam. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, that was awesome. Well done. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram are both at Sam Kaufman Official.
Okay.
The podcast is neverstopbuildingpodcast.com. And, obviously any coaching information would be on winrateconsulting.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, go to Never Stop Building on, it's on Apple, it's on everything, Spotify, all that good stuff, and give them a 5-star review right away. And then you better listen to it afterwards, because obviously this is one of the best interviews I've done easily. We're going to chop the shit out of this content and promote the hell out of you, brother. So
cool. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Building Great Sales Teams. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. Remember, great sales teams are not recruited. They are built block by block. Until next time.